So with this next series of videos, what I want to do is talk to a lot of you brand new actors. You may have been working for a few years trying to break into this business. You may just have started breaking into this business, or you're just thinking about it. I want to go back to when I started and give you some information that I wish someone had given to me. Now, one of the things that a lot of new actors talk about, they think they have what's called, I call it kind of a myth, the myth of natural talent for acting. Now, there is some truth to that. You do have to have some kind of natural talent, some ability to stand before the camera or before a group of people and perform. So that's something that a lot of people have when they're starting out. So they think that's the only thing they need, but that is not true. It's a myth. You do need classes. Even some of the most gifted natural actors have taken classes. Now, I'm not talking about children. That's a whole different topic. We've all seen children who had no training at all, and they just truly have that gift of natural talent. But we also see what happens to a lot of child actors when they do grow up, and they still refuse to take any acting classes. Acting as a child and acting as an adult is two different things. So let's not get confused with that. There is natural talent, I think, for children. And not that I know there is, because we've all seen it. We've seen just children can just pick up the lines. Children can just deliver the lines. They have that freedom, that creativity just built right in. But I'm not talking about children. I'm not talking about children. We're talking about you as an adult who makes that informed decision that I now want to be an actor. And so don't get caught up in that myth of my natural talent is going to carry me as far as I need to go. And that's one of the things that I did wrong when I first started out. I had that ability as a child to, I call it play, to imagine. I had a great imagination. And that carried me into, I think that carried me into the idea of that I did want to be an actor. But lucky for me, I was smart enough when I made that decision, I was in college. So I started taking acting classes, and I kept taking acting classes, and I still continue to go out sometimes and do a refresher acting class on the areas that I need to focus on. And one of the areas that I always focus on is auditioning. But again, okay, let's get back to the next topic here. Every great actor started with training. Yes, Meryl Streep, Viola Davis, Denzel Washington, all the way through history, some of the greatest actors started with training. And training is something that every person interested in this field needs. So no matter where you are, you don't have to be at the biggest acting school in the country to start with. You know, you can start at a community college. You can start with a local acting teacher. And I said, vet those teachers, you know, best you can. Find students who went to their classes. And don't just take the opinion of one student. Find multiple students who went to, you know, if you're in a small town somewhere, even if you're in a big city, find people who have went through the class, who have worked with the teacher, and get their opinion. 3 or 4 people, get their opinion. Find people that you trust and get their opinion. But take classes, study, learn the basics. And then also too, there's books, tons of acting books. That's a new series of a new video I'm going to create. I have it on my list. I've been working on a list of videos that I want to do. And one of them are my personal favorite acting books. And most of them from 35, 40 years ago, the ones I still have on my bookshelf. So what I'm going to do is I'm thinking I'm going to get those books out. I'm going to go through them, and I'm going to pull some of the great topics out of those books and give it to you guys. Show you the name of the book. Tell you we can get it. You can get a lot of these books for dirt cheap now on Amazon. Thank God for Amazon. Next one. What an acting class actually teaches you. Now, in acting classes, you're going to learn scene study. You're going to learn improv. You're going to learn emotional connection. You're going to hopefully learn cold reading, and you're going to learn about voice, expressing and controlling your voice. So there are a lot of different topics that you are going to learn in an acting class. So when you're open to it and you're ready to do it, try to study about what topics you want to learn first, and focus on a teacher or a class or a group that focuses on what you want to learn first. Don't try to learn everything all at once. You can go to a class where it's a little bit of sample of stuff, where you get a little bit of everything, or you can go to a class where it specializes, maybe on scene study, maybe on cold reading, maybe physicality of an actor. So there are a lot of different topics, and that's, again, where it comes in when you're going to do your research. Back to number 2, every great actor started with training. You're going to do your research and find what acting teacher you want to work with. So you'll find what that teacher specializes in and in what method. Do a Google search and find out the main acting techniques that successful actors use. And do that research. Do that research. You've got Google now. And so there's so much information that I didn't have access to. But I did learn it because I've read lots and lots of acting books. So you can go in there and find out what are the topics, what are the techniques, and find a technique that feels drawn to you. And you can actually read about those techniques online before you commit to a class. So do your due diligence, as they say. Find out what method or acting approach that you're interested in, that is drawn to you, that you feel a natural connection with. Do the research, find a local teacher, no matter where you are, find a local teacher, interview that teacher. Don't just go there and sign up. A lot of them have where you can audit the class, where you can go there and sit in on a class. You sit in the back, you're not really participating, but you're watching the class. And that's when after you've got 3 or 4 referrals to that particular teacher. So again, do your work, find a teacher, and start looking for a class. Let's see what we got here. Another thing, some actors, give me a second here, sorry about that. I got my list here so I can stay focused, and sometimes I run off a chart. Okay, we talked about what the acting class will teach you. Let's talk about acting is a muscle. Use it or lose it. So that's another thing that I tell actors. Even if you're in acting class and you're doing scenes and you're really taking this seriously, good, you're moving on the right direction. But get a group of friends, maybe from that class, maybe friends that aren't really that much interested in acting, and get them to help you out. Every actor needs to practice. Just like any person who's, whatever their field is, they need to study, they need to practice it, they need to work at it if they really want to excel in that field. So get a group of friends together and have your own, scene reading. Do your own scenes, do your own scene study. Put together little skits. You don't have to film them. Just put together little skits, learn the dialogue, and go through them. Practice, and keep doing it. You can even, what I used to do, I used to practice lines in the mirror, alone. I didn't need anybody. Then I moved on to practicing into a camera and taping that and looking back at the tape to see how I delivered those lines, to see if I looked believable to myself. Because first of all, you have to be believable to yourself before you can get anyone else to believe you. So practice. Practice with friends, practice with family members. Keep your acting muscle moving. Next, you want to confidence, and confidence versus cockiness. There is a difference between being confident in your ability and your talent and being cocky, where, I can do anything. There's nothing I can do. I've seen a lot of famous actors do that, have that cockiness about them. They become successful, and they maybe not even be as big as they think they are, but they start to believe that they can do anything. I've seen over the years, I've seen a lot of good actors on television series walk away because they thought they were going to be the next, big time superstar. They walked away from a top performing show because they thought they were going to get into the film, walk right into the film business and become, a franchised actor. You can't let yourself get that cocky. But we're talking about something that is potentially in the future for you. This is not for new actors, but you don't want to get that level of cockiness and take it into your acting class. You're there to learn. You want to have confidence in your talent and your ability, because confidence makes you relax. Confidence stops you from thinking about, am I good? Am I believable? Am I this? Am I that? Especially in acting class, you want to go in there and you want to do the work. You want to do the work that you have to do outside of the class before you get to the class. Now, I've taught a number of acting classes out here in California, all the way from children, all the way to adults. Some of my students are older than I am, and they were just starting. Some were more advanced. But the thing that was universal, a lot of students did not do the work out of class so that they could come into class and get a benefit from being in the class and working with others and get the benefit of me criticizing them or complimenting them. Because the first thing, they didn't know their dialogue. They didn't do the work outside the class. That's one thing you need to get into the habit of. Because if you're an actor and you're given dialogue and you're given a date when you're going to shoot, they're not going to be calling you up every day. How you doing on those lines? You got those lines down? No. They expect when you show up to the set that you have those lines memorized and you're going to deliver those lines and you're going to be confident and you're going to be just as good as the A-list actor that you're in the scene with. So, that's happened to me many times. You get there and they don't even give you a chance to rehearse. Luckily, a lot of times too, about 50-50, I would go there and the main actor, the star, if I was in the scene with him or her, would run lines with me. Or the director would call everybody together and we would run that scene. But a lot of times that doesn't happen. They expect you to come, show up, prepared, professional, ready to deliver your lines. And that's what you have to do. So you need to get into the habit of it. That's why I said work with some friends. Maybe get 2 or 3 friends together. You don't have to pressure your friends to learn the lines. If they're helping you out, they can be, reading from a play script. They can be reading from something you wrote. And they can just be reading with you, holding it in a piece of paper. And you put yourself in that pressure so that you can learn the discipline necessary to learn lines. And the better you can do that, the better you're going to be on the set, the better you're going to be on, auditions, directors meetings, casting people meetings. Sometimes you're going to walk, and this happened to me thousands of times, commercial auditions. I get the lines, and obviously I work on them. I study them, I break them down, I think of the character, I give the character backstory. And this is even for commercials that I think could potentially be a series of commercials, which mostly that's what I'm called out on now. And I'm there, I'm prepared, I'm ready to go. I got my backstory, I got everything. I walk in, and the most recent one happened, I walked in. Oh, hi. Oh, yes, we got your name down there, James. Oh, we changed the scenes. Here's some more dialogue. Here, go outside and look at it, and we'll call you in when you're ready. All you can do is smile and nod and go out there and do your best looking it over and get prepared and get ready. I'm telling you this because this is what happens. This is the business. And you need to be a professional. So the more you do when you're first starting off, yes, I want to be an actor, preparing yourself, being able to be a quick study with dialogue. I know it's easier said than done because it's hard for me. I do much better when I have time to look over the dialogue and think about the character. And, I know, okay, say if I have 2 days to look over it, then I break it down in my mind. Okay, I need to know this scene, this scene, this scene. And then you find out what dialogue you may be having difficulty with, what you need to work more on. You have that time, you have that luxury. But sometimes you don't. A lot of times you don't. So that's why I'm saying get into the habit of working that acting muscle. Just like any other muscle. You're going to the gym, you're running, you're swimming, you're kayaking, you work those muscles. Acting is a muscle also. You can't just ignore it. Even if you have had some success. And I have to remind myself sometimes that a lot of times. I've had a number of successes, and sometimes I get to the point where, okay, I'm not going to do any work today. I'm not going to do anything today. But I push myself to get out of that. You get into a slump. Everybody gets into a slump. It's natural. But you need to pull yourself out of that slump and read an acting book. Go online and look at something. Watch some videos. Always trying to improve. Always trying to make yourself better. Always trying to learn things you don't know. Reviewing things you do know. So work those acting muscles. Work those acting muscles. Let's see. Okay. One thing I love about acting classes. That's why I said you want to audit a class. You want to find a class where you know somebody who maybe has went to the class. Someone who says, yes, this teacher is good. He's rough sometimes, or he expects you to try your best all the time. So you want to find teachers who you fit in with. You may want to start with a simple teacher where they kind of just guide the class. Now, I've taught classes where I guide the class, and I'm not trying to chew anybody out. I'm not trying to, give them the experience they may get on set. And then I've taught those classes where I will tell people, let's try that again. I didn't believe that, or try it again this way, purposely changing what they had prepared. So find out how you want to start. Again, you may want to start with a simple class. You may want to start with something maybe at a community college. Or if you're young, you may want to start with a class in high school. You may want to form a group if you're in high school. Form a group, the acting club, and you all go in there and you audition with each other. You read scenes with each other. But the great thing is this topic of the little section right here is acting classes are a safe place to fail, to make your mistakes, to learn what you don't know. Because if you're just starting out, there's a lot about the acting business that you don't know. And the comedy saying that, somebody out here on talk radio. We don't know what we don't know. And that's true. You don't know what you don't know. So you need to put yourself in situations where people know more than you. So you can learn, okay, what is it that I don't know? Oh, I didn't think about that. So that's a great thing about acting class. You're going to learn from your peers. And when you're not up there, watch what the other students are up there when they're doing their scenes. Watch what they're doing. Learn from what they're doing. Listen to the comments and the criticisms that the teacher may give back. If you go through the class and some teachers say give constructive criticism. I used to do that sometimes because I'd want the students to feel the feelings when someone judges them for their acting ability. Because you're gonna get that from directors, you're gonna get that from fellow actors, which is always a pain of mine when when I'm in a scene and you have the fellow actor trying to give you tips. Be nice, thank you, I got it. I just usually nod and smile. But you want to learn to take that. You want to learn to listen to it. Are they saying anything that's valuable? Are they saying, you know what, I couldn't understand that last word you said. That kind of threw me off. That kind of stuff like that is great. Because acting, you want to collaborate. You want to collaborate. What I said earlier, I meant when the other fellow actor tries to direct you. I've had that a number of times, and especially actors. And it's always the actor with no experience. It's always the actor with no experience trying to tell you how they think you should do it. So don't get. See, that's why I got my list, so I won't get off on a tangent. You'll learn while you're watching others in class. Don't go to your phone and start swiping through your phone until you get on stage. Watch what the other people are doing. That's how you're going to learn. That's how you're going to find out who in the class do I want to work with. You want to work with people who are better than you. Because when you act, this is a little secret, when I arrive on the set and I'm acting with actors who have been successful for 10, 20, 30 years, I all of a sudden get better. It's amazing. You learn from others. You absorb that. You rise to the occasion. If you've prepared, if you try to prepare, if you work that acting muscle, if you take this seriously, when you get in a situation and you're with good actors, you rise. And it's true. Again, choosing the right coach or class. This is going to be, like I said, you're going to do your research. You're going to find out people who may have went to the class. You're going to find out more about the class, more about the person's background. And there's so much stuff. Again, I keep mentioning Google because there's so much stuff that you can find out about the acting teacher. What kind of credits? Have they ever done anything? Have they ever acted anything? Have they ever really been an actor? That's a pet peeve of mine too, online, especially here on YouTube. There's a lot of people trying to teach and sell you stuff who actually haven't done it, who don't know what it's like to get rejected hundreds of times, to have how many auditions. They don't know how many auditions you have to go on before you get one. They don't know how to act when you get on the set. They don't know how to act when you get on the set and it's not what you expected. So do your research, find out who the teacher is. You want to learn from people who have some type of experience. You don't want to learn from people who, just decided, oh, okay, yeah, today I'm going to be an acting teacher, or today I'm going to teach you how to make, $100,000 on YouTube videos. So you want to learn from people who really have experience. That's what you're going to be looking for when you're looking for an acting coach. And that's why I say talk to people, research the teacher, interview the teacher, audit the classes. Again, last thing, don't wait to feel ready. What that means is you're never going to feel 100% ready to start a class. So you want to find a class, and maybe you'll take a short class. Maybe take a class that's 1 month first, just to see if this is what I really like. Take a small class. Like I said, go to a community college. Go to an extension program. A lot of universities have extension programs where, it's 3 weeks, it's 2 weeks, it's 1 week. Acting 101. And they teach you a whole bunch of stuff. Go to some of those. And that's where you can find out people that are like you, who want to learn, who are new to the business, and are willing to collaborate together and help each other rise. So again, no, if you have that natural ability, you still need to take classes. You're not that good yet. Always remember that. Some of the greatest actors still have coaches that help them with roles. So what does that tell you? These people are making millions and millions of dollars. They don't audition anymore. They get called and offered roles. They get scripts sent to them, but they still have coaches that they work with to help them. So you as a new person, You need to get out there, find a coach, find an acting teacher, and don't get stuck with one. That's one thing I want to say too. Don't get stuck with just one. Try a few. Take a few small classes and find what works for you, and actually learn what techniques are out there and what techniques you think will fit your style and that speak to you. And that's the technique. You may want to try that first. And try a few techniques. Try it all. Get out there and give it a try. I'll see you on the next one.